Good morning and welcome back to Garai Media. Today we're going to be replacing both our brake shoe and brake pad on our 2006 Suzuki Grand Vitara 4x4 variant. But just as up, even if you have a 4x2 variant, the process would be the same. So I hope you watch the video and hope that would be informative. So here are the replacement parts that we went with. It's a Bendix brand. We've done our research, and for the price, it would be better than rebonding the brake shoe and the brake pads. Also, when we checked the reviews online, it seems to be a good alternative instead of the OEM. Upon checking, the meat looks good. It's thick compared to the old one. You're going to see that in just a little bit. And let's look at the brake shoes. Yeah, they are thick as well, and they've included a hold down kit so that we could remove the old ones on the car. So yeah, so here are the tools you'll need to do the job. Of course, you need the tie wrench, couple of wrenches, a 17mm and a 12mm wrench combination would be best, and a 12mm bolt, and a screwdriver to pry off the return spring of the brake shoe, and a hold down, and the pliers to remove the hold down spring on the brake shoe. If you have an air compressor, that's okay. You can remove the dust, the brake dusts from the drum and the pads and the disc with that. But if you have a brake cleaner, that would be best. Of course, you need a jack and a jack stand for your safety. So in order for us to do the job, we first have to loosen the lug nuts on the tires, and then jack it off of the floor. Then for safety reasons, we have our jack stand. So once you remove the tires, don't forget to turn your wheels to the right so that you have easier access to the caliper. As you can see here, the boot on the slider pin is a little expanded. I saw on the internet that we could boil this so that we could shrink it back down to size. Let's try that later. Also, if you want to repaint your calipers, now's the best time so that you can remove the parts that's not needed to be painted. So yeah, for us to have access to the brake pads, you would need to loosen this bolt right here. It's a 17mm bolt. So if you're gonna work on these tight spaces, it's best if you do not use an offset tool, wrench, just like this one. It'd be easier to use this one. So because the offset wrenches, they need more space for it to perform. So yeah, let's remove the bolt right now. Then there you go. On newer cars, their rear brakes are also disc brakes, so it's much better or easier for you to replace them. So in order for us to remove the caliper, you only need to remove this 14mm bolt, same as the bottom one. Also, if you have a bungee cord, in our case we don't have one, we use this improvised chicken wire, I think, to relieve the stress on the brake line. So once we remove the calipers, you'd have access to the boots that we were mentioning earlier, the one that expanded, and look at the normal size, and the way it recoils back, it's much slower compared to this one. The reason why it expanded is because the people that worked on the brake replacement before used a petroleum-based grease, a normal grease. It'd be best if you use a silicone grease in order for us to avoid expansion like this one. So we're going to remove it just like so, and then we're going to boil this boot in hot water. Let's see if it would shrink back to size. Also, now is the time to clean your brake pads and brake dusts off of the rotor. To avoid using our brake cleaner excessively, it'd be best if you brush it off first, since we're not sponsored by any brands. First, I'm going to use this to brush it off, brush the brake pads off, the asbestos off, and then hit it with this one. So yeah, so just a quick update. We've cleaned the calipers, we've used the brake cleaner, dusted it off, and the bolts as well. Here is the after, and here is the before. As you can see the grease. Don't worry, we'll just use a new grease. We'll replace the old grease because this one's already dirty. So yeah, just a quick update. Also, when before you put back the pads, your replacement pads, onto the calipers, don't forget to grease this sections right here. It's where your disc pads would sit. It'd be best if you grease them, not too much, just a little bit. And also this brake pad is going here on the outside part of the caliper, is where the claws are. Oh sorry, you'd have to grease these parts as well. Just a smidge grease. Don't go crazy on the grease, because if it goes into the rotor, it might cause your brake pads to slip. So now that we've cleaned all of the parts, we're going to grab our replacement pads and use this sandpaper to sand off the excess part. There might be debris stuck on the pads, so just for us to be sure that it's clean, we're gonna lightly brush it, sand it rather, just like so. And same goes on the other brake pad. So once we've replaced the old pads with the new ones, don't forget to put back the shim. Other replacement pads includes rather a new shim with the replacement pads, but the Bendix one doesn't include the shims, unfortunately. So yeah, we're just going to remove this the wire on the caliper, and then replace it, bolt it back, and then we're done. So we put the calipers back. When bolting, remember to use your hand first, you know, just to get a feel of the thread, so that you can avoid cross threading the threads on the male and the female bolts. And avoid power tools first, you know, just tighten it first. And here is on the bottom part. You see that how easily we were able to put back the calipers, because we've pushed the pistons back. So even if the pads are thicker compared to the older ones, it's easier to reinstall them. Again, same with the top portion, hand tight. And once you can't tighten it further, let's use the wrenches we have. Also, just a tip, if you're working on bolts that are tight, it'd be best if you use a box wrench instead of an open one, because just what I've shared, when we shocked the bolt, if you're using an open wrench, there's a chance that it might slip and damage the bolt pattern here. Same goes with an offset wrench. If you can see here, the force that will be traveling, instead of directly to the nut, the bolt, it would be, you know, it would be on an angle. It would be an offset angle. So there is also a chance that it might slip and still damage the bolt pattern. So yeah, I think we're done here in the front. So all we need to do is replace back the tire and onto the drum brakes. So we put back the tires. So remember, if you're going to put back the lug nuts, do it in a cross pattern. Okay, just so that the face of the rim would sit flush on the rotor, on the hub rather. And don't forget to remove the thing that you use to hold up the caliper, either a bungee cord or this one. So yeah. So in other cases, you can just lightly tap or hammer the drum brake, and it will be and you will be able to remove it or to pry it off. Oh, also don't forget to disengage the handbrake, because if the handbrake is still engaged, the shoe is pressing against the walls of the drum and you won't be able to remove it. So in this case, since we're not able to just simply tap it and pry it, we're going to use a bolt and tighten it so that the bolt will go downwards onto the back of the drum and lift the drum. After tightening it for a little, don't forget to tap it still, and same goes on the other side, so that you would be equally lifting the drum off of it. So we removed the drum, and here is what it would look like. So you see here, the shoes are a little worn, the lining, the meat, it's a little worn, so we're going to remove it. First, you're going to have to remove the return spring, and then remove the hold down kits, right? And then I think we're good, because once you remove the springs, it would loosen up and remove the tension, it will fall down. So yeah, let's proceed with that. So upon inspection, the meat or the lining on the old shoe is still thick. We compared it to the new one, the replacement one. Still looks thick. Pretty much the same. You can compare it. So yeah, we're gonna keep it still. We're not gonna replace this yet. We're gonna just keep the new shoe and keep it in stock. So I think we're gonna do the front disc brakes, and then we're done. By the way, since we've removed the drum, it'd be best if you inspect the boot on this pistons. If there are any leaks, in our case, lucky enough, there are no leaks, because if there are leaks, you'll see them moist here all over and gunk, because oil and asbestos off of the shoes will be, you know, accumulating, and you'll see that it would be dirty. In this case, nope, it's not dirty, so a quick spray with brake cleaner will do the job. And again, just quick little spray like this, and we're done. You put back the drums and onto the next one. Thank you again, thanks for watching, and like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thanks, bye.